I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
And we are AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Attack on Titan, Season 4, Episode 12. Last episode saw the return of my favorite character in the show. That's nice. And I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited to go forward. I'm really enjoying Attack on Titan. I've been, thinking about it. And I think this is the first time I've ever tried to think about Attack on Titan as a show so far.
Like as a whole, from what we've seen so far?
Yeah, and compare it critically to other television and stuff I've watched, which is interesting. Usually I do that very early on, but I guess I'm just pretty caught up. But I don't know. I don't often, if ever, watch an anime that has made me feel, think, and just appreciate things like Attack on Titan before. And I'm just grateful at the moment for it. It sounds lame, but I'm really enjoying the show right now.
I completely get you. This show is a completely new experience for me. And it's really funny because I haven't really compared it too much either. But I feel like if you had compared it early on to anything, with each new season, it's given us something new. When we switched to the perspective of Kenny, and we had that situation and fighting people and not Titans, and now we're in Marley for a season, it's it completely turned everything on its head. It wasn't the same, we're with these same people. And so it's become almost incomparable to anything that I've seen.
Yeah, I think it's really good. It sounds dumb. That's the only thing I can really say though, and I'm just enjoying it. Do you have anything else to say?
Yes. Okay. So while I was getting ready to sit here and talk about Attack on Titan, I started thinking about Attack on Titan, and I just scribbled some things in my notebook just really quickly so that I could talk about them and I could say it to you.
Before you say that, it was Sasha's dad.
It was.
Yes, go on.
Okay, so I'm probably just going to read it from what's written, even though it's kind of scribbled, so it's not complete sentences.
Okay.
So I wrote, eagerness through anger to kill / revenge. Eren was easing us in. It was giant monsters with no feelings. Easing us in to a hidden meaning, a core of the show. Gabby fights real people with reasons and stories. That's why it's hard to watch Gabby. She's the same as childhood Eren, but in both instances, what we think are devils, even in different forms, are actually humans and one of us. For Gabby, the grotesque filter has just been removed. Commentary for the audience on how do we feel when we realized the Titans were just innocent people not intentionally harming those of the island. We cheered when the scouts took them down. And then when Kenny was introduced, it began that idea for us that, okay, now we're making the enemy that is human appear human. And then we were given Gabby. There was a flow to it.
Yeah.
I think that if they had started right out of the gate with someone without this filter, this image of these grotesque giant monsters, it would have been harder for us to understand I think one of the true themes of the show is that perceiving people that you don't understand as devils. Yeah. And it was just a kind of showier version of that and easier for the audience to get on board with. Yeah. And then Gabby's kind of the realistic version. Huh. It's they've eased us into her, but if you took away the Titan filter, Eren would have been the same. If the Titans that had attacked were attacking in their human form, Eren would have exactly the same response that Gabby would. Yeah? Yeah, I don't think it has any difference, really. It didn't matter to Eren much when he found out that these Titans had no reason to kill. It didn't really matter much to him when he found out that they were actually humans that were turned into Titans. Yeah. He still killed them.
That's very true.
For revenge.
I think I'd feel very differently about Gabby if she was 15 years older. I think I would probably have a much easier time disliking her as a character or as a person, because at the moment, I think a lot of me is it's a child of war. Mm-hmm. And I don't know.
That's why I say that she's the realistic example. Yeah. Eren was this that's why I think it was to ease us into this theme of killing those that you don't understand. those that you don't live day to day knowing, and you're being attacked by another group of people, a monster, and you're trying to protect yourself and protect your families, and how easy it is to perceive those that you don't understand as something other, different, or horrible.
I have a question for you. Do you think that there's any chance that while Marley and Marleans have come over to Paradis, any of them have brought a camera with them?
I think it's possible.
If they did, there's a small chance that a photograph of Sasha was taken
and is hanging in the restaurant
and is
that they're about to go
in
to.
The restaurant that they're about to go to.
Yeah.
Nicolo.
I mean, he probably would want to honor her in some way.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Does Armin actually have a crush on Annie? So Hitch is now watching over Annie.
Don't ban me from coming back.
Wow. Hitch looks
Annie's
so
waking
good.
Up. Annie's waking
yeah,
up soon,
I agree.
Bro.
I mean, maybe upon this surprise attack?
Maybe. That's when she... It depends what side she's on, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, she's been listening to Hitch and Armin talk for all of these years.
I know that, like, the way that I feel like we should feel is that Annie's, of course, why wouldn't she be on Marley's side, right? But there's always been, like, a little bit of difference there for me.
There is a difference, and I think that they've given us some leverage to believe that Annie is not wholeheartedly siding with Marley.
Yikes.
Oh, so they've gone against Hanji, the newspapers. Wow.
It's media.
Wow. Avenges the Eaten.
He's like a symbol.
And Hanji was a person of the people.
God, I love Hitch. Going to see Eren, maybe?
Oh, are they gonna try to break Eren out?
Maybe.
Eren doesn't need to be broken out. He can get out on his own.
Oh my god.
Is it manipulating? Who I was.
Exceeded expectations.
Two brothers. Okay.
Two brothers. Jesus.
The brother of the person she thinks of as a god. Is that why they were surprised and she wasn't for being detained?
God, he's so wise.
I know, that's like so true. She couldn't keep a secret.
Yeah.
I love Hanji. So Yelena basically screwed it up for all the other Marlians here.
I think she was being honest when she said it was reckless. Got her hands dirty. Did...
Huh, yeah, what? What's the double standard there?
She has such like an infatuation with Eldians, and, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see the chair?
Does it have to be manipulation?
Chair's just sitting there.
It's his prized possession. They referenced it? It's because he wants to look at it. He's proud of it. You all better hope he just doesn't try to strap Eren to that chair.
Oh my god.
They're in on getting Eren out. Those people that just went in the office. Someone had a bomb strapped to them. I knew it was suspicious. We keep seeing these people. Holy.
Holy shit.
Oh, riot starting?
Oh my god. It was
The
placed
bomb
on
was
the
in
chair?
the chair?
That's kind of nuts.
I mean, it was his prized possession, so.
Thankfully, it didn't blow up while Mikasa and Armin were in there, right?
Mm-hmm. But did it purposefully not?
Oh shit. Everything's happening.
Is he in on this escape plan too? Oh wow. Look at him! Oh my god. Oh my god, he's meeting with them. What the hell? It's like his army.
Don't give him the shirt. He doesn't need it. The music. It didn't even blink.
Flock.
And it's the mid-roll.
It was too epic to not make the mid-roll.
I don't even think that's ever happened before.
Flock being the, like, main man behind this is a major shock.
Jaeger is. What the fuck's happening?
There's a division here.
知らせていればどうイエーガー派の多くは調査兵団からだぞ。ハンジ団長。いくらでも処分は受け続くことより無責任なことはない。どの兵団にどれだけ潜んで俺の目の前にいるかもしれない。
Oof.
Oh, well, I don't like him. I don't like him at all.
I wonder what the wine did to him.
I know, I already didn't like him. Does that mean Aaron and Levi are gonna fight?
Dude.
限られたものしか知りませんが、エレンがまず狙うはジークとの接触。2つの守りを万全のものとせよ。我々を束ね統率することができるのは何か今後の展望はございますか。わしらの負けじゃ。エレンに降参しよう。ではどうにもならない。
Do a thing about enemies in our midst. Interesting. He's always been pretty level-headed. It does.
God,
it's
you're so
more divisive.
Cool.
It's probably accurate.
The Jaeger brothers. It's like a tag team.
It's gonna have to choose your battles kind of thing.
Oh my god.
Wow, I don't think I've ever seen that much emotion from him. In the bottom of our pockets.
感謝いたします。しかしながら生まれ育ったこの島の行く末を見守りたいと思います。来たのはあなた様のために。地下資源がなくこの国の主導権を握るのが誰で成功すればというお立場ですよね。ヒーズル本国からははしごを外されることでしょう。ビト家は最後を迎えましょう。
Azuma Bitos.
頼るわけにはいきません。アズマビト家は返事できましたが。
Oh my god.
But she genuinely is.
The music's amazing.
What are all of your concerns? Oh no. No!
Gabby's gonna be here too. Oh my god!
What's the positioning to get them in restaurants? Are they going to the restaurant?
Who's reading that newspaper? Nobody just reads
Stop!
the newspaper. What?
Stop!
What?
What?
Okay, that was Attack on Titan, Season 4, Episode 12. I am 71 episodes into this show, and I'm still the backpack bitch. Like, it's happening again.
Oh my jeez. All of this happening at the same time? All of this happening? Infighting? Zeke and Aaron possibly meeting? Marley's now here? All at the same time? Gabby and Falco are at the restaurant that Hanji's probably heading to? Like, what are... We talk about all of these things at play with this show, but now they're like all in the same place. And I'm like, don't know how to handle myself.
I don't either.
How do I handle myself when I am so excited?
I know what I'm about to say is made out of the emotions of watching 3 prior seasons of build up. But Attack on Titan has never been better for me. Like, I am living right now.
This season has made my life in a way. Like, I have enjoyed every season. I think season 2 especially I really, really liked. And I think maybe that's because we got some focuses on some characters that I really liked. But this season is has probably sold the show. Like, I didn't really need to be sold.
Yeah.
It's so funny because it's like no one had to convince me that after the first couple seasons that this was a good show. But it's like now they're like, I sold you on it, but now I'm gonna like make it even better.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you didn't need to. You didn't need to give me this wonderful gift because I still would have loved the show. But you're just putting icing on top. Like, this season has blown my mind. I'm so in love with it.
This show right now is only allowed to be this good because of all the work they put in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we went from season 1, intro to the world, understanding our cast,
Mm-hmm.
to understanding an external threat, into vague answers to what that external threat is, so we wonder about what the world really is and how it, really acts and who people really are, to turn that into fighting those people who are our own, into the culmination of everything that's been laid out before being, I don't know, it's
right. It's like the enemy is forever, I wouldn't say changing, but it's developing in different forms of like who is the focus. Like, we went from like, oh, these giant monsters, to, oh, but the government is the issue. Okay, overthrow the government. Like,
Yeah.
Like, there were so many inner working like gears, and I am just, we went into this show, and I think in the first episode, season 1, we probably said that we didn't know what to expect, because we didn't. But I think we expected a general possible good show, because we had heard that people loved it so much.
Yeah.
We had expectations that people loved this show. Therefore, we went into it crossing our fingers and hoping it was really good and like worth the hype and worth how many people recommended it and how many people loved it.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of those people are wrong. I think all of the people that recommend this show are spot on.
Well, you know what it is? It's like, it was all, like, it's already a good show. It's already an amazing show. And do you want, like, and when I think about the moments that make it or have made it a great show, I think about, like, even early on when Levi and Annie fought, or then we had the introduction to the orangutan, and then we had the amazing fight between, like, the whole, like, confession between Reiner, Aaron, and Bertholdt, and the amazing fight of Levi and the Beast Titan, and, like, all these crazy screaming moments, right?
So
these
many
hype
amazing moments.
But, like, hype moments make a great anime, yeah, but this is just solidifying it to, like, oh, it's like, I don't know, it's just capping it off in the way that they're doing it is so cool. I've never seen an anime with this much, like, attention to detail and effort and time put in.
I'm going to give it another compliment. So, I don't normally watch dramatic TV in general, live action, anything of the sort, because I've often found that a lot of dramas are too dramatic. Maybe the first couple seasons are, ooh, this is a good mystery or drama, like, that makes somewhat realistic sense, but then they overkill it getting into like the 4th or 5th season, and I'm like, wait, oh, now they're a villain too? It's just too much. But I have never once felt like anything in the show for a fantasy show was unrealistic to inner workings of government, inner workings of military, war, anything like that, and the drama that would unfold of people being independent people that think and feel their own things and would side with different sides depending on their own life experience and their own personality. And I have never once found that any of the drama in this show was like, overkill,
Yeah.
Like overkill dramatic. I've never felt that. It was like, it's been perfection dramatic.
I don't think I could comprehend or understand if this story wasn't written fully to completion multiple times and then revisited before volume 1 came out. Like if like
it was written fully and
like,
then the mangaka went back.
Yeah, like I'm trying to put myself in a position where I could understand what the writing process was like to achieve such like a great result.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I can like even stick to or land on is, oh, I've written this entire story, haven't released any of it yet, gonna go back a second time, reread it, and start like just making it better and using these connections to better the story. And the pacing of all these different plot points are all going to converge at this one moment, and this is how we're going to arrange it so it doesn't feel overly complicated and rushed. It's
or repetitive. We've already had a government infighting upset general public.
Yeah.
We've already had that. But this instance doesn't feel like, oh, I'm reusing this plot point.
This is the most I've ever wanted to be like, okay, I don't want to talk and just watch the next episode right now. Like, I'm just so, I'm so invested right now. But do you want to, start talking about the episode other than...
Yeah.
Cool.
I would specifically like to go to, I don't know if it's you probably might have stuff to say beforehand, but I'm excited to go into Yelena's conversation with Pixies.
Let's talk about it.
Well, we can go in other things first. I mean, the first thing that happened was Annie and Hitch and Armin all in the same room.
We got to see Hitch again.
We had previously said that if Annie was to ever wake up, we thought Hitch needed to be there. And Hitch apparently is the one that watches Annie, so that makes me very happy. We now know where Annie's being kept. She's being kept in the interior, in the most important, area of the whole island, where all of the bigwigs are. And so now we know that.
Hitch is really pretty, I think.
Hitch is very pretty. And Armin, I think I said previously that before he even had Bertholt's memories, I always thought that there was a possible little crush there.
Yeah.
Mainly their alleyway conversation before the fight with Annie. I was getting that. And I just thought that Armin admired her, was interested in her, intrigued by her, maybe even trying to understand her. Because Armin's just a sweetie that wants to be friends and understand everyone. He wants to understand you and what makes you tick, and so that he can be a good friend to you.
Don't get me wrong. On one hand, Eren Yeager is trying to single-handedly destroy the entire world, and that's pretty bad. But Armin's kind of one-upping Eren and being like, yo, I ate you, and I'm going to sleep with your girl. That's kind of cold, bro.
Okay, imagine the scenario. You might think someone's pretty, and it's totally, you're in this story.
Yeah.
So, we're not dating because you're in this story.
Okay.
So you see someone, they're pretty, they're nice, maybe you're friends with them, and then you eat someone who has a crush on that person. So now you're seeing all of these memories of that person in a way, in a POV that highlights, you might even feel some of their feelings. Would you then possibly develop a crush for that person because you're noticing things about them through this person's memories?
I don't know.
It's kind of sad in a way that if he didn't like her beforehand, that it is kind of do you know if it's really you at the end of the day?
Okay, here's the difference though. At the end of the day, all Armin knew was that everything he knew about Annie was wrong and a lie, and that Annie betrayed them. Annie wasn't from here. Annie's evil. I wait for it.
Okay.
And then, that's end of season 1. And then she's taken out of the story, and you get to see, upon eating Bertholt, Annie's entire past, how she grew up when she was a kid, and that maybe who you did know of Annie, there is some truth to that, and Annie might not be a terrible person, and you can see that. So, of course, your feelings would be, reassured that she isn't this evil person who just fooled me. She's all that, and this is what she's been through in the past.
Didn't Armin say something about like it originally about like was she really who like how she acted around us was that really her, or it might have been a line someone said about Reiner or Bertholdt, but it still holds true that they were all trying to work out if these people that they had grown this friendship with were acting genuinely themselves. Like, do we really know this person, at least on some level, or was all of it a lie?
Yeah.
And I think that it might have been Annie that was possibly talked about. So yeah, any ideas, he probably has validation to some degree that and he's a benefit of the doubt type person. He wants to know someone's like true heart, and he wants to give them the benefit of the doubt. He wants to trust them, and I think he got some validation. He even probably saw the memory that Annie didn't want to attack. She was like, let's go home.
Maybe.
And Reiner was like, we're gonna not. We're gonna stay. We're gonna do this.
I don't know. It's an interesting point to go down, though. When you think about Armin screaming at Bertholdt about how Annie's being tortured back within the walls, and now we see him blushing at the little egg.
Like, if it ever went to a romance, and I'm not saying it is, because is Annie gonna wake up? Would Annie be interested in Armin? If we just like thought about it from a romance lens, it might seem surface level romantic if they ended up together, but then the other part of me is like, if I was the person that was the object of the affection here, and I knew that you ate the person that originally liked me, I would doubt that your feelings were real. Probably for a while, until I saw proof that it seemed like it was you that actually liked me. So I don't know how easily I would be like, this is romantic and amazing as a viewer. I'd be like, there are some... Is it really romantic, or is that Bertholdt's feelings taking over Armin? Is that how Armin truly feels? That also makes me kind of sad for the idea of, like, if it wasn't how Armin truly felt, how powerful are these memories of the other holders of the Titans, and how much of a sway do they have over changing your personality and who you are?
I don't know. Can I have a crazy theory?
Oh, sure.
I'm acknowledging that's crazy. I don't actually think this is going to happen, but... the fact that we got a little bit of Annie here in the beginning. What if it's been like a long con, and that it's a fake out right now that we're trying to find Historia, like Eren and Zeke are trying to find Historia, and it's a complete fake out in a plant because somehow, one way or another, Annie was sent over here to do this on purpose because she's actually like royal blood. And when they go to Historia to make sure that Eren and Zeke aren't going to beat Historia to transfer over the Orangutan's power to royal blood, nobody's going to be there. And they're actually going to be here with Annie, waking her up to like let her in on the plan. And it's like her time to shine.
What would be her reason to wake up?
Well, that's how I started thinking in that stupid way.
We need to think of like, I mean, we don't need to theorize, but like, I would like to talk about what would potentially be a reason Annie would wake up.
Well, so what I was thinking was like, I'm looking at a screenshot of her with her eyes closed, crystallized, right? So I was trying to imagine like, how does this end? Do we see the same shot and we just see her eyes open, or do we see somebody like touching it and like melting it around her? Like,
so I love both of those things you just said. First, I love the eyes open thing because of how creepy it looked, the Warhammer Titan, the sister, like in that form, but with her eyes open. And there was slight expressions that were shown on her face. So slight. And it was really creepy looking. And so I think it would be kind of epic if you just saw like that kind of after credit of seeing going up the wall and seeing the crack with the Titan in the wall, you know, it'd be epic if you just saw Annie's like eyes open in an after credit or something.
Oh,
but
that would be so cool.
Your other one was just someone touching it.
Yeah, like
which I think
Eren
is what,
or Zeke and like walk up,
that's
put their
what we're
hand on it.
narratively being led to.
Yeah.
I think with the idea of Armin being about to touch her and Hitch being like, nope, no one's allowed to touch her, and Armin being like, oh, but you know, I just thought if I touched her, I would maybe get a sense because feelings or memories can be passed through touch. And I'm like, that is a narrative like plant. That has been planted for us.
Yeah.
That is a seed that has been planted, and now they can go somewhere with it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. But next scene we get is what you wanted to talk about, right?
Yeah. I specifically wanted to talk about, and I don't know if it's not necessarily a discussion point. I guess it's more like my favorite little part of this conversation was that Yelena basically she's a very, maybe a slightly honest person. I'm not exactly how honest, but it seems like when she gets excitable, like she really loves something, then she says something, she blurts it out honestly. I mean, we saw that from her initial conversation with Hanji when she got onto the island, and here she says, I just wanted him to know who I am.
It's almost like a kink. It's something that she can't help herself to.
But like, then I started thinking about it, I'm like, why would she want Eren to know who she is? And then I was like, he's the brother of the person she sees as a god. That means he is also a god in her eyes, or just god adjacent, or a greater god because he has the founding titan power. Like, she wants to be recognized by these gods, these people she sees as being the saviors that are going to, the Jaeger brothers, Jaeger brother and co.
Yeah, it's almost like she was offended by the accusation that Pixis made of. It is like she's offended by it, or like just in her reaction so interesting when Pixis says you succeeded in manipulating Eren just as Zeke hoped you would. And then Yelena like snaps. What would be the point in that?
Right.
All I wanted was for Eren Yeager to know who I was, for this god to acknowledge my existence.
But also manipulation that word could make her angry. Because I even said it when Pixie said this. I was like, why did Eren need to be manipulated? Manipulated, I don't think she like said anything necessarily to Eren to cause Eren to change his mind. She said that he had an urgency to him, when he met with her. So I don't think there needs to be manipulation. If someone presents you a plan and you agree with that plan, you're not necessarily being manipulated to do the plan. You might be manipulated for a greater goal because you went along with their plan that you at the time agreed with. But multiple people have said that word in this episode, manipulation.
Yeah.
It's been used multiple times. I think that's on purpose that it would be used multiple times. And I don't know if we're supposed to believe that that's actually the case. I mean, it's even been brought up in conversation with Armin and Mikasa. I think Premier said it to Armin and Mikasa. Yeah, he did. He said that Eren was being manipulated by Zeke in their conversation before he died.
I don't think Eren's being manipulated.
I don't think so either. But it's being used multiple times, which makes me even more suspicious that they're all wrong. All of these, well, now maybe. One of them's dead.
Potentially wrong. We don't know.
I couldn't even see Eren in his personality now being manipulated. I could see him being like, I know you're manipulating me, but I'm going along with it because I want the same thing.
I completely agree with you, but we just don't know for sure, He
seems too, like, cold now to be like, he's not like gullible, I feel like for a manipulation it needs to be someone who like he's kind of cold and empty and just willing to walk through hell, and I don't think that's a person that's like gonna be manipulated. I
agree with you. I think that whether somebody intends to manipulate you, it's the person being manipulated's choice, I guess, of acknowledging that potential manipulation and then using it to their own benefit too, and being like, oh, if you think you're manipulating me and I can already tell that you're trying to, I'm already one step ahead of you and I can, use that any route. I get what you're saying.
Or like, I don't care that you are.
Yeah.
And I could see it being, I just couldn't see him being this gullible, innocent person being manipulated by this, because they're talking like Eren's this innocent, sweet, good boy, this good boy who wouldn't do anything wrong, who's being so evilly manipulated and twisted by Zeke, and Eren would have never gone with this plan if he hadn't been manipulated. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know about that.
Well, like, it's like what Armin and Mikasa were kind of suggesting, like, oh, just let us meet with him and maybe we can understand him, or like, but
because I think they don't believe that he would be. I mean, they're probably in this, like, torn place. The people that love Eren are in this torn place of, was he manipulated, or does he feel and think something that we didn't know he felt and thought?
Yeah.
And I think that they're scared of both. I don't think they want either to be the answer, because I think if you were a person that loved someone, I would be scared to know that they were so manipulated to do such horrible things and someone took advantage of them and tricked them into something. And I would be upset to know that they had changed from the person that I knew. And so both are really scary.
One of my favorite details in this episode was, again, during the same conversation, and after Pixis, I think knowingly, potentially, maybe I just give him too much credit because I love him so much and think he's like
he's a
mega head.
chess master, remember?
Yeah, exactly. But you succeeded in manipulating Eren just as Zeke hoped you would. In my mind, he's saying that to warrant a reaction, and oh my god,
he got it. The way he's
but,
even sitting,
but
he's expecting a reaction almost.
But the reaction isn't in the face. The reaction isn't in Yelena's words either. The reaction is when the camera pulls away and you realize that she's doing the salute to Eren right now. And just Pixis's words alone made her snap and inherently put her arm up to her chest. How fucking cool is that?
I didn't even notice.
Like, it's like
there's like
she
some
couldn't help herself.
And we got one of the Jaegerists, now that we have that name, I'm going to use it, that was in the jail cell, Luis. That's what she did to Mikasa as Mikasa was leaving.
Yeah.
So it is this, like, they've become...
It's like the Mockingjay, right? Like
he's an idol for them, I guess. He's their he's the head of their army now. We just saw that at the end. Like, Flock came out of nowhere to me. He suddenly appeared. He suddenly was the sole survivor. And then he was in that fight with Eren about who to save. And then now he's on Team Eren. And I'm like, what is happening with Flock?
One of the funniest things in the world has got to be people using the term Jaegerist. It is like, it's so absurd to me.
But we have to use it
because
that's what they're called. So it's like, we can't, I guess we can make up
another
name for them.
But I like it. It's just funny to me that this is the world that I'm living in.
It's funny to me that they made it up. That they were like, this is a good name.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's too funny to me.
Like, I can imagine like a basement pitch meeting of like, okay, we need to be taken seriously. We need to plan explosives, but more importantly, we need a name, fellas.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, well,
and they have tough competition.
Marley's taken.
No, they have tough competition. The Restorationists.
The Restorationists is a cool name. How are we going to live up to that? And then I can imagine people like spitballing ideas like trying to combine Eren and Zeke, but then you're
together
like,
in a word,
that's
like
Zaren, not gonna work. And
Eric?
then somebody was like, nah, but they have the same last name because they're kind of brothers. And they're like, two brothers? And they're like, two brothers isn't a good name. Nah, Jaegerists.
Oh.
I don't know.
I mean, like, I think maybe if we hadn't had a name of a group of people that we liked so much, maybe this would have.
No, I like
so funny
it.
To
I just
us.
think it's also funny. Yeah.
Yes, we are not hating on it. It's just a little funny. But Restorationist was pretty cool, so it was tough competition.
What do you think about the perspective of Yelena? Like, history's about to change in front of our eyes. Her face is so crazy.
Yelena's like a little unhinged.
A little?
A little unhinged.
She's very unhinged.
I mean, there's this like super. I mean, yes, there's a religious tone, but there's like she reminds me of the Wallists, you know, in terms of like kind of this, she wanted something to believe in, saw something as her savior. She's kind of like diehard for it in a religious aspect. And I think that is an interesting perspective to bring back into the story, because the Wallists were kind of killed out, you know, after the coup, after the government switch over, and after, you know, Pastor Nick being killed, you know. So like, to bring that undertone back into the story, that theme of a religious aspect, helps with the world building a lot to me actually, to have the idea that people would perceive, if you perceive walls as being holy and magnificent, of course you would also perceive these people that can fight and like have will within a Titan form. You would see them not only as heroes, but probably also as like at least demigods.
Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean, that also goes to the difference of, I think Onion Compone said that in some places in the world, they view the person that gave the devil of all earth is a god to them.
Yeah. I think that Yelena might potentially be like one of the most potentially dangerous characters in the entire series. I like we don't often see characters who... Okay, so if I had to, like, put Yelena in, like, a position, I'd say that she's, like, an archangel. Like, she is complete... I don't know why we are going so religious with undertones, but
I was gonna say fanatic.
It's like a loyal fanatic, though. It's very interesting because she's extremely tapped, but she's knows it. She knows and is aware of her own faults, and that is terrifying because even though that she knows what she did was reckless, she doesn't.
And she's aware that everyone else
care.
is innocent.
Yeah, and what did she say? She wants to see it from their side. Like, she's like, it's gonna happen. I just want to be able to sit on the side and watch it happen while they're killing all these people or devastating
She
all
wants
these
to
people.
be there. She wants front row seats. She
Like,
wants
it's
to, like...
terrifying.
It's like she's thinking of that as being, like, she could die happy after seeing that, but she wants to be there. And honestly, as a viewer, I want to be there too if that does happen, because that would probably be really crazy. Don't know if it's actually going to happen. Because I don't really know exactly what.
I love Anyan Capone.
Oh, I know.
I don't know why.
I know Hanshi and him have
their
this,
friendship's
friendship.
so great.
I know.
I don't know why, but when
I love that he's like gets to still live in his house even though he's like under like house arrest. Like he still gets to live in his cute little house, and that makes I'm like, oh, at least they aren't like making them be in jail cells.
I was like, immediately, I was like, there's no way that Anyan Capone would lie to Hanji. And I have nothing to really go off of, like, other than a couple scenes, but I was like, there's no way. And then he didn't. And I was like, this is great. Like, I love their friendship.
Is he like a replacement for Moblet?
Oh, Moblet can never be replaced. No, he's not a replacement for Moblet.
In a way, he's fitting kind of that role.
Yeah.
I mean, Hanji is now bringing him into things, and this is kind of like, it seems to be someone that she feels like she can be herself around. I mean, she immediately just, like, dives into this conversation with him. Like, she's been holding herself back around all these bigwigs, and she's had to, like, put up all these appearances and deal with all this stress, and now she's getting to play this card game and eat food with a friend.
Yeah.
There's an energy of, like, she feels, like, safe and comfortable, like, this is one of her comrades, and she can, like, be herself around this person. And
the fencing
like
around Anyan Capone's house has me, it's a doozy. It had, like...
The stones into the, like, white picket fence?
Yeah, I'm very confused.
Why do you need both?
Like, I imagine that the white picket fence was there first, right? The paint looks fine. It looks okay. Why would you need to reinforce it with stone? It's not like a wall. It's not going to stop Titans, you know? Like, I don't know.
It's just like, is it an aesthetic choice? Is it like, oh... Because you're right. How would you... If the stone had been there first, how would you get the fence in the stone?
Maybe
so, like, that would make sense.
Was white picket, but Anyan Capone was like, well, I have to be here anyway. Maybe, like, remodel the house. I'll redo the landscaping, put some stone fence up. I like the aesthetic better.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in, like, one of those video games where I can, like, kind of decorate, and I'll, like, put a barrel here and, like, a crate, and I'm like, these are great decorations. Thank you for all of these options.
Do you think, oh yeah, also Yelena accidental murders. That whole thing was fun. But, do you think that Zeke and Eren met in Marley? Like, there was so much time.
And
there was time there.
There was time, and we also know that Eren was known by Zeke's grandfather.
Yeah.
So, whether Eren was invited over to dinner with the fam, Zeke came to visit his grandfather and talk to Eren, any of those things could have quite possibly happened. I don't think they'd go the letter route, because Zeke would not have thought that was safe.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say they probably... That would be wild and crazy if they hadn't had any meetings, right? I mean, they could have, like, secret signals, you know, like a half-brother handshake or something. Like, wink twice if you, like, want to go over there and talk secretly.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't know. So we got Premiere a little bit before he died. I'm glad that we got to see his chair again.
Honestly, that was kind of, the perfect way to kill him. was putting
Yes.
a bomb in his chair.
It was definitely the perfect way
Because
to
it
kill him.
also is like, I'm gonna kill you with this thing that you happily tortured people with.
Yeah.
Like, the premier wasn't an amazing guy. He wasn't, like, morally perfect in any regard. Like, no. And it's interesting because he was a judge. You know, he was a judge of morality in a way because he oversaw the courts, basically.
He's the judge and the
And
sentence.
the punisher.
Yeah, and the punishment. Like, it's awesome.
And
It's great.
he held a lot of power, and to be killed by his own, like, prized possession of torture
Yeah.
is really dark and kind of awesome. Not kind of awesome, very awesome. But I was also surprised he didn't already have the chair on display in his office. He's like, yeah, they had no room to store it. And I was like, you were storing it? Why didn't you have it on display?
Dude, if I was premier, I would have more than one of them and have them as my default chair for people.
For people to, like,
for
sit on when
visitors
they come and visit.
as, like, an underlying threat. Like, you're,
like the two, how Mikasa and Armin are, like, sitting at his desk right now. Both of their chairs are that chair instead.
It's like,
And
oh
you
my
don't-
god, this could be me.
And you don't know if someone's already used it.
Ew.
Like, you don't know if it was once actually used by a
Ugh.
prisoner. Gosh.
I was kind of shocked a little bit to learn that they were already trying to find a replacement Founding Titan.
And that they were secretly doing it
makes
without
sense,
involving
but-
Hanji.
Yeah. It makes sense because of all the leaks, but
And
like-
but it's so messed up. Like, Hanji, it's a falling backwards. You know, you're supposed to be a united government, and you're now going to have secret meetings that don't involve one of your heads of, like, military.
yeah.
When I mean, yes, there's a no trust thing there, like, or they're having trouble trusting her, but you're already, once you make that choice to make her separate, you are basically alienating her,
Yeah.
and you're giving her a reason to be mad at you. You're giving the scouts more reason to be mad at you. Like, it kind of just seemed like a effed up decision on their part to, like, create that division. Like, they were like, okay, well, the scouts, the people, the Jaegerists created this division. Like, you are furthering the division, which is interesting because then Pixies walks in the room and he's like, we're not going to create any more division.
Yeah.
The plan that we're going to do is we're going to try to save as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, you are my main man. You can lead. I agree with you.
The way that he handled that situation with what's her name was so well done.
The woman from
Yeah,
Hisuru?
it was so well done. Like
He's
his character exudes. Like, I feel so safe with him.
He could be the leader. Like, he's gonna die, isn't he? We've loved him for so long.
Yo, if
And he's
Aaron-
been in the show for so long as this character that we see as, like, trustworthy adult. You know, we didn't, like, Aaron couldn't trust, like, anyone once he got the Titan power, once people knew about the Titan power, but we immediately trusted Pixies.
Like, I try to be, like, impartial for my own enjoyment. I don't know why. I like being, like, the devil's advocate or trying
You
to
just like that in real life. He's like that in real life.
But no, like, I want to understand, like, both sides, right? And to
Mhm.
the best of my ability. And, like, I think the thing that would make me most biased and unable to do that is if Aaron directly killed Pixis at any point. I think I would, like,
Oh
break.
my god, but he could.
It, like, I don't know. I think that Pixis, if he does die at some point, would be willing to die for what's right. Like, if he was just part of what needed to be done, you know? Like, his death
Yes.
needed to happen for something else to happen.
I agree that he would feel that way. And I, unfortunately, really think that that is a giant possibility, his death in general.
Yeah.
Especially after seeing him as such great potential to lead.
Yeah.
And that obviously we have agreed with actions of his from the beginning. We've trusted him as an official, as a leader. And he wants to protect as many people as possible here. And it reminds me to his speech on the wall where he brought up and he was honest to all of those people. And he was like, yes, your government sent all of those people out.
Yeah.
They, like, what was it called? Purge. They purged all of those people. He has a wanting for people to know the truth. He's very focused on transparency,
Yeah.
I think. And I think he's exactly what you would want in a leader, because there's a transparency. I know I can trust you, and if you keep something from me, I know that there's a reason you're keeping it from me, you know?
Yeah.
And he's gonna die.
You're so sure. You want to know
Unfortunately,
what
I
what
feel
needs
very
to happen before that?
Oh, okay.
I wrote down, what would a conversation look like at a table with 2 chairs between Pixis and Gabby?
That would be a very interesting conversation. And I could see that happening just because of a dynamic that would be probably very entertaining and maybe even good.
I don't know. Like, I would love to see them write that out. Like,
We have the possibility that Hanji is on the way, right?
Yeah.
To the restaurant. So we might get Hanji Gabby.
No,
but I
we're
think
going to get John Gabby or Connie Gabby, because that's the only way to confirm that and acknowledge that Gabby was the one to kill Sasha.
Niccolo Gabby.
No, but
The Marlian
Niccolo wasn't there when Gabby got shot. So they're the only person who can confirm that Gabby was that Sasha got shot. So the only way to actually confirm in like a situation like that's happening on screen of the realization that the person who Kaya looks up to and whose family is taking care of Gabby right now is, you know, like that. The only way that situation can unfold is if it's from anybody who saw Gabby. How?
I disagree.
How would anybody else know who shot Sasha?
Because they told Niccolo that it was a girl that got on the airship.
That's true.
And I don't think the coming out of this information should be a very divisive, angry conversation. I think it needs to be like, they don't know who they're talking to, and this information comes out, and Gabby's there to witness it.
You're right.
Sorry to disagree with you.
No, you're right. I do think that that's a good way to go about it too. I just imagined it in my head like, we're trying to find Aaron, we're trying to do this, we're looking around everywhere, and then John and Connie's eyes meet Gabby, who's at this place, and then it's like, oh shit, like everything's happening because they're on their way to her.
I'm thinking about it. If you meet a child, especially who's angry, with angry energy back, and you're both meeting each other with angry, biased energy, you're never gonna have any like.
But I know, but like, what if it played out and Gabby's there? She came willingly, and obviously, I could see some development happening from the last time we saw Gabby to right now. I mean, she agreed to go to dinner with them, right? Mm-hmm. So they could already try to be en route for Gabby to be more sympathetic towards these people. And while she's on the route to be more sympathetic, she's met with the reality of what she did.
But would it put her back if she faced the people that she saw kill people she knew?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it would put her back. I think it would put her back in her shell, and there'd be no room for a conversation.
I don't think there would be a conversation. I think everything's just going to go to shit. Like, there's so many different, like, things converging on this point right now. I think that I would feel differently if we didn't know Peak was there. But the fact that Peak's there, I'm like, it's only a matter of time before, like, okay, here's a question for you. Do you think Peak has already located Gabby? I don't think so yet.
Well, she probably located where Gabby and Falco were being held.
Maybe.
That'd
be hard to do.
Where they are now.
But I don't know. I could see a bunch of different things happening, but I don't know, man. I didn't think Peak was going to be there. In my greatest theories, I could have never come up with the idea that they've already been on the island. I
didn't realize it would happen. So basically what we saw was probably a conversation in Marley the day after. You know, the day after, 2 days after. The aftermath and the people of the island getting away.
Yeah. So
that means they immediately...
How'd they do it?
...did this mission. How did they get onto the island?
I'm so excited to see.
Okay, so if we're willing to now trade with other places, how open are we to new ships coming into port that aren't Hizuru? I don't know. Do we possibly infiltrate ships from Hizuru, because we have information that they are working with the island or trading with the island, and we put some of our people on those ships to come into port seamlessly.
We know that the Azuma Bitos are best known as money-grubbing vixes, so could
they
one
could
of
have
them
paid
be bribed?
some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
A bribe, maybe.
Dude, when we got Eren, like the dialogue of Eren broke out, I'm like, okay, he's like right out the door, he's escaping right now. Then it transitions not to that, but to like one of the most beautiful scenes I've ever seen in anything, with like the sun setting on a mountain and Eren shirtless and barefoot walking up it, like just
I mean, we
calmly.
both felt the same thing. We were like, Flock, throw the shirt onto the ground. Why are you giving him a
Flock
jacket?
and 100 people.
Like, Flock, you're being an idiot here.
I don't know. Does this mean Eren used his Titan powers
to break out?
Yeah, he has the eye things.
I guess so.
Yeah. We didn't see any destruction.
We didn't see any destruction. I guess he could have timed it perfectly with the bomb going off.
This makes me want to grow my hair out again.
Honestly, he didn't have to turn into the Titan to probably break down the bars. He could maybe even, I don't know, we don't know how the Warhammer Titan power works completely. Like, what if you could make something without fully transforming?
Dude, that'd be so
So then
cool.
he could have broken out without creating such a big, statement. Because he was underground. So he could have, we don't know how he got out. We don't know what he did and how much of a destruction he caused from getting out.
I don't know.
He could have been let out, and then this was a far walk, and so he turned into the Attack Titan just to run the rest of the way.
I just
the mid-roll.
Yeah, I love the idea of Eren saying find out where Zeke's being kept while he's putting on his jacket in slow motion. That leads to the mid-roll.
And also who puts on their jacket in such a fluid, performative way, you know, is awesome.
I realized that we don't have to worry about mispronouncing Paradis or saying Paradis anymore, because we can just say Eldia.
The new Eldia.
Well, isn't that how we've been referring to Paradis or Paradis recently? As Eldia?
I mean, lately, yes, that's how the general public was even calling themselves.
Alright, do you want to read the mid-roll?
Yes. New Eldian Empire. A new name. Ooh, you moved it for me so I could read it all. A new name for Eldia, used by those on Paradis who are sympathetico Eren Yeager's actions.
Sympathetic too.
Oh, there's no space. They have rallied around, no space again, Eren and the name, causing disorder. Eren and the name, hence becoming Jaegerists.
So, general public uses the term Eldia for parody now, and Jaegerists use the term New Eldian Empire. Ni. N-E-E. Yeah?
N-E-E.
Huh. God, such a beautiful scene. I love how they're doing hair this season. You know?
A lot of them have very nice do's.
Yeah.
I'm honestly I loved Armin in kid form with the haircut he had, but if they had grown it, did I say Eren or did I say Armin? Because I meant Armin. Okay. If they had grown Armin up and kept him in that same haircut, I would have rioted.
Yeah.
I am very glad that his haircut matured with him. I was glad for Flock, but it would have been way more upsetting if Armin still had the hair that he had before. Yeah.
I like his hair much better. I think everybody's design is much more aesthetically pleasing to me, other than Jean, which is still I don't know, votes out still.
Is it his hair?
I think so.
I think it might be his hairstyle that I'm maybe isn't exactly what I wanted for Jean. I think, and I wouldn't be surprised if you absolutely love it, Eren having his hair pulled back.
Yeah, it makes me want to grow my hair out again. Yeah. I'm oh my God.
Every time I look at it, I'm I feel like Ben would add this to a Pinterest board of hair inspiration or something.
I did have a bun at one point, right? Yeah. I wanted to, before we get out of here, I wanted to talk about
let me out. We're locked in here.
I wanted to talk about when the scouts were getting ready to leave and gear up. I didn't actually think this, but it was a funny thought. For like a good 15 seconds, we were stuck looking at horses while hearing talking, and I was like, man, are these horses just like talking to each other? Like, it
was a weird shot. I gotta be honest. Hearing them talking, like, what's the purpose of that? Is there a hidden meaning to seeing the horses while we're hearing talking?
Like, I'm just thinking of one horse who has actually helped Aaron kill the premier. I don't know how he did it, but apparently a horse can build a bomb and attach it to a chair because he's like, we're helping Aaron when he killed the premier? Or no, never mind. But I don't know. Good.
Yeah, it didn't really make sense to me. I was like,
funny.
Why? But it was good once we saw Hanji walk up to the horse and, it all seemed to make sense again. But
God, I cannot.
And now we're watching what has just happened after the horse's little conversation is Peak. And
do you think Pete can read that newspaper, or do you think it's in, like, since it's in a different language?
I think they all have the same language.
Yeah, but Ymir language?
Well, Berthold and Reiner and Annie never seemed to have to. I mean, in the military, did they have to read? Like, in their job as scouts fighting Titans, they might not have ever. They were never quizzed on their reading ability, I don't think. So I'm not sure. But I gotta say, Gabby dressed up to go into this hall. Her little dress is so cute with the little...
Yeah. It's your lucky day, kids. God, they look...
Y'all fixin' to eat?
He talks like your dad.
Y'all and fixin'. Fixin' too.
Yeah, fixin'. Or like, let me get my fixins on this. I've never heard that before, your dad. Interesting. It's so cool. All right, you good?
I think so. Please. Okay. I'm going to say my last thing.
Okay.
I want more hitch. More hitch. More hitch. Okay. I think
Rest
I'm good.
in peace, Marlo. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.